the spot because I'm using that to monitor the chat. Woo, okay. Podcast is happening.
It's podcast.
It's a podcast. What was I don't even have the thing. You say, I think it was the first time you saw what I wrote on the document because you burst out laughing. I was just like, Kyle, I didn't know this is what you were going to do. Google Drive. We are preparing everything. Open that up and I'm good to go. Bam.
I have other talking points now that I know it's just you and not Eric. Because
Did like you have stuff specifically for him?
No, I had something I wanted to ask you that I'm like, this is more of a Kyle applicable question than an Eric applicable question.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just you and me tonight. Eric had to dip out last minute. He wanted to go take his family to go see the new Wreck-It Ralph film. I believe
nice.
That is what
he's to get out and see that one.
Off to go do. Yeah, I never really saw the first one. I think I saw bits and pieces, but it never it came out when I was still in college. I think, and so it was like I was so broke then that it was not like none of that was happening. Kyle was not going to the movies. That was not a thing.
I was a big animation nerd in college, so of course I went to see every Disney movie, and Wreck-It Ralph is my favorite Disney movie of my post-adolescence. That and Princess of the Frog are my favorite things that have come out since I was like 12. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, you need Disney knowledge.
I mean, I'm not into bestiality, so yeah. So
she kisses the frog because the frog's like, I'm gonna turn into a prince if you kiss me. What?
I was listening to a podcast earlier today. It's a video game one, and one of the people on there had the best time trying to describe this game that she downloaded that was like, this is completely ridiculous. Whoa, what happened to your Skype thing? It got super small, and I don't know why.
To my what? It got small?
Yeah, the Skype picture got super small and like in one corner, and I have no idea what is happening. Weird. I guess it's back. That was really strange. Like your picture just went like up there. I have no idea. Anyways.
Well, at least I sound like I'm the same size on the podcast.
Yes.
I don't sound small.
It did it again.
What?
Watching it on the stream, and it's like up. You're like that one. You're in the like top corner, I guess middle thing.
What do I do?
It's strange. I wonder if that's the side effect that we're gonna see with your roommate being home.
Oh, that's what it does. Like if somebody's sharing my bandwidth, it's like, okay, you can still call Kyle, but we're just gonna make it
super small. Yeah, we're gonna make it small instead. Why is that doing it? I don't know. Now it's back. Strange. Well, that's kind of distracting. We are going to see if we can chug along here. What was I talking about? The video game. She was having a really great time trying to describe this very, very terrible video game in which this woman just like thinks, oh, I can't find any cute guys, so I'm just gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go work at a horse farm thing. And she's like, well, maybe there'll be some strapping young little lads that work at these stables.
Yes.
And she gets there and there are no guys, but there is a horse that is there that looks like a horse, except instead of the horse's head, it's like an attractive guy's head. It's not a centaur, but it's only the head.
So
that's it.
If a centaur is 50-50, this is like a 90-10 centaur?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like only the face. And
I love it.
And so she's sitting there like, whoa, what the fuck is up with this horse? Like, why does it have a human face? And then the like stable owner is like, what are you talking about? That's a normal horse. And yeah, and so it's like it's apparently like she was born in the year of the horse, and so because of that she can see certain horses as like see their faces as like attractive guys, and so she ends up falling in love with this horse.
Oh.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 30 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. It is our weekly off-topic show, so you never know what you're gonna get. Apparently, this week, horse bestiality. So there you go. We were just talking about your picture doing this little small thing.
I got small.
Your roommate is home, so we were thinking the audio quality might go in and out. We just like your bandwidth might be taken up, but maybe the image is just gonna get smaller. Who knows?
My picture will get smaller. What a thing to do to me. I was made for the big screen, Kyle.
Because like I'm wondering if it's like it's sending me, because I'm using the new like NDI source thing, so I don't know all the back end of that, but it solved a lot of our problems, and I don't like because it's one of those things, right? When you're streaming like a YouTube video, I guess nowadays it doesn't do it as often since most people's internet is decent. But it used to like take a second for it to like load up to its full resolution, right?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if. But like it was always the same size, like the video never got smaller, it kept it the same size. So I'm wondering if it's changing, like there's not enough bandwidth to do the certain size it's at, and it's changing it, but instead of keeping it the same size that I have it on the stream, it's like we're just gonna transmit a smaller thing.
Yeah, same resolution, smaller size. They've made me into a postage stamp.
Yeah, exactly. How has your week been, Melissa?
It's been good. It's been busy. You've known me to only have busy weeks, I believe.
Pretty much.
I've told you every week for the past several months. It's been a busy week, Kyle, but yes, I was handed a new trainee this week, very suddenly at work. She showed up like half a week earlier than I thought she was supposed to.
Oh, man. Is that good or bad? Because it's like good because she gets the training earlier and she might have either more time to get acclimated or will get done sooner so you can give her all of that work sooner? Or is it like, shit, what do? We weren't prepared for this. Who are you? Why are you here? You know?
No, I think like the actual higher-ups knew she was coming. They just told me the wrong date, and I'm her lead trainer. And I'm like, my training program's essentially the same for everybody. I'm telling them what I do every day, so I'm already prepared for it. It's just that it is very difficult to train somebody and continue to do your full, like, regular tasks.
I see.
So I try and get as ahead of everything as I possibly can before I get a new trainee. I've never managed to do it. And so training somebody,
I'd love to do all the work. You know?
No,
I mean,
I have to teach her how.
I have to learn somehow.
So
this is the deep end. Go.
Training will put me very far behind for a little while, but then once she advances, once she gets like a good rhythm going, then there's a transition period where I can have her help me with a lot of stuff before she gets her own projects. like she will be my shadow for a little while. So it's rough
Okay.
at first, but yes, then I will have a helper. And then I'm supposed to get another trainee before the end of the year, which I
Double
like.
duty.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I've trained, she's my fifth trainee so far this year. So by the end of the year, I will have uh, five beautiful children and the exiled son, who's somebody I trained and then he didn't work out.
The prodigal son. Okay. That's
Yeah.
not that bad.
So that's what I've been up to this week. Just work focus, which is not an interesting thing for our listeners to hear about, probably, but you are continually concerned about how much I am working.
Well, so does your job slow down at all because it's the end of the semester? I know you deal with like academic journals and stuff, but how
Mhm.
tied into like an actual school or like a school timing is that, or is it not?
There's not a slow time because,
Okay,
yes, people are working during like
mine
the
slows down
regular.
a lot.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Well, uh, I actually it's the opposite. Mine speeds up at the end of the semester because we don't work over the holidays. So it's like all the work we should have been doing, then we have to
Mhm.
do before all of that. So end
Yes.
of the
Yep.
semester is always like, oh shit, we got a lot to do.
Yep. Yep.
So, oh, and now you're big.
I'm big again.
Yes. What? No, like you're like big.
I'm big.
you're
Big.
you're giant.
I'm the cow now. It's
Oh
me.
god. This like so it went from like super small to like now it was just like boom like super big.
Am I saying
What is
like secret keywords
I'm
that your computer is responding to and we don't know what they are?
I have no idea. Did your roommate leave? It's like now
No, she's still out there. I hear her rattling around.
weird. I have no idea why this is happening. What if I'm not that won't do anything, but what if I delete those two? Are you want to delete these? Yes, I'm sure. Because I'm not using them. That's so weird. I'm just because now, like with the small one, like you were still in the frame, you were just in that one corner, but now it's like the corner of your head. So I'm wondering if I should change it, but if I
Did
change
it
it,
drop
will
me?
it?
Am I like that much?
You're in like the bottom. So for people watching it on screen, you're on the like bottom right, like
Hmm.
bottom right, but like it's big. So we see your
Big.
like we see like half of your face.
No.
Yeah, but like I'm wondering if I should change it and make it smaller. But if I do that, will it go smaller again? If it like pops into all of that stuff. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think I'd make a good Two-Face. Kyle, what Batman villain do you think you are?
What Batman villain do I think I am?
I think you as a Scarecrow.
You would take me as a scarecrow?
Uh, you're a little scruffy and like you're kind of unassuming, which is what I feel like Scarecrow is until he gets scary. Who do you think you
Yeah.
are?
Um, I don't know. I mean, probably think higher of myself than I actually am. So I'm sitting there like, ooh, I should be like Hush, but that's creepy because Hush is a very very creepy Batman villain, but he's
Hmm.
also like dark and mysterious and all that. I don't know.
I don't think you are dark or mysterious.
Yeah, well,
Only
that's
if your lights
also
aren't on.
so that's also like the weird thing about me doing these podcasts. I have to be like very social and outgoing. I am not like this at all. Like
Oh,
I am quiet in my headphones. No one talk to me. Like I'm just
oh,
gonna sit here and be silent. Um, I was an only child growing up, so that was part of it. It was just like, well, I'll just kind of figure out how to entertain myself, and that's that. But yeah, I don't know, what Batman villain would I be? Shit.
I know, it's tough.
That is tough.
I don't know which one I am. I love to laugh, so maybe I'm Harley Quinn.
Maybe.
I'm just giggly and supportive.
I don't know if I would describe Harley as supportive. Because, I mean, she has the whole... What's the... It's Nightingale syndrome? Is that what I'm thinking? It's not...
No, you're thinking of the city. Are you thinking of Stockholm Syndrome?
There's that. That's when you fall in love with your captor. But what happens when the captor falls in love, or like when a doctor falls in love with their patient?
I don't know. It theoretically could be Nightingale syndrome.
That's potentially what I'm thinking.
I don't know if it's a thing Florence Nightingale, the famous nurse, ever did, but maybe. I don't know enough about Florence Nightingale.
I don't know if that's if that's the legitimate term, but that's the one I'll use. That's how she started, right?
That's right.
Her patient was the Joker, and then it ended up becoming Stockholm Syndrome, where she entered into this abusive relationship, and she just sees him as this, like, he can do no wrong, all of this, but he beats her, he hates her, he does all of this stuff, and it's just like, Harley, what are you doing? You're so much better than this. Ivy loves you. She really loves you. But yeah, I don't know.
Villains aside, I think everybody should aspire to be Alfred. Just if you want to be anybody, be Alfred.
When my friend Paul and I first made the Whatnauts back in the day, we were throwing a bunch of ideas against the wall to see what stuck. When we were like, let's make a podcast, and we had no idea what we were doing. There is another comics podcast called Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men.
Yes.
And they're fantastic.
Tremendous.
And they always do these cold opens where all of their episodes start with this thing, and it just gets wilder and wilder, and eventually they're just like, wait, what? Like,
yes,
that is in the X-Men? Like, how does that even make sense, And so I was wanting to try out something similar, not necessarily to the same extent where it's just like, this is ridiculous, like, what the hell? But our first idea, or one of the ideas for a podcast, was that we would cover more topical stuff rather than a certain book or a certain movie and stuff like that. Or we would even debate certain topics. Like the first one we recorded was, can zombies die of natural causes? Like, can they get to a point where their bodies just decay away? Like, could you go hide in a cave and outlive the zombie apocalypse because they all don't eat and they just wither away? Because their flesh is decaying, kind of, maybe.
Kyle, short answer. Which side were you on?
I don't remember. I think I was on... It was like 3 years ago. Longer than that now. I want to say I was on the side that they could.
I believe so also.
I don't remember. But yeah, so we would have that. We would have that leading question, and then we would go do our research and stuff and come back, and we just have to sit here and argue. And that was our thing. And it didn't really work out like we wanted to. I don't think Paul really understood my idea exactly. because another thing was just like how do the X-Men actually get all of their money and stuff like that. Like you can argue multiple things that they make patents, they do this and that, but is that really what they do? But to get back to Alfred,
Yes.
One of the ones we had.
We were talking about him. Yeah.
Right. One of the ones we had, I think it was when they first announced the show Gotham.
Yes.
That hey, we're making this show called Gotham about Batman before Batman, and we were like, that's kind of weird. That's stupid. And so we decided to, like, if we were to do a show like that, what would we do? And we ended up making it all about Alfred. And just like how Alfred got to where he is the one that is taking care of the Batman. And it turns out Alfred is like the most interesting comic book character out there. Alfred might not actually be his real name.
I buy that absolutely. When you started that sentence, I thought you were going to say like Alfred might not be human.
Well, sure.
So the fact that you're like, it might not be his real name, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's completely mundane and believable.
Well,
I was prepared for something weirder.
There's that, but even the name Pennyworth is not his actual name. At least in one version.
His name was Alfred Poundworth, but he wanted it Americanized.
No. Anyways, no. So he was in the army or the military or something, and I like he got kicked out, and his superior officer was like on his ass, being like, dude, you're not even worth a penny. Like, you're a piece of shit. You'd like get out of here. And so he like took that as his call sign, right? And instead of a bat flying in the window and being like, I think I'll become the Batman, it's, dude, you're not even worth a penny. And he's like, I think I'll become Pennyworth.
I love it.
Yeah, so we had an introduction to one of our episodes. I was like, hey, Paul, in your opinion, who would you say is the most interesting man in the world? And he's like, wait, the Dos Equis guy? I'm like, no. And he was like, all right, let's narrow this down. I was like, all right, how about in comics? And he was like, I don't know, Captain America. I was like, nah, he's just good old red-blooded American male,
I love the man. He's a square.
Yeah, and he
like, say lovingly, as I too am a square.
Yeah, and he ends up naming these things. He's like, oh, Batman, yeah, and I'm like, nope. And he's like, who? I'm like, Alfred Pennyworth, and he's just like, no, that's stupid.
No, I'm with you. I'm Team Alfred.
There you go, Team Alfred. There you go. I'm looking at our thing. We have a new document now that we can pull topics from.
Correct.
This is great.
Yes.
You put on Artemis Fowl.
Oh, yes.
Let's start there.
I had a thing I wanted to talk about. Talking about Alfred reminded me of something, and thank God I already wrote it down. The Artemis Fowl trailer.
Yes.
Kyle, we are of a generation. Did you read these books when you were young?
Still have them. They're on a bookshelf back there, and I can see yours back behind your head. Yeah, I read, I think, most of them. I have 5 or 6 of them. I'm not sure how many there are. I think there's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there were 8.
8 of them. Maybe I haven't read all of them.
The final book came out in 2012, summer 2012.
Okay. I know I got a couple of them late, but my dad and I read them together.
Aw.
And yeah, it was like around the age when like Harry Potter was coming out, and this was like, gee, I like Harry Potter. What other like YA fantasy novels are out there that are about a young boy who's doing stuff? And my dad was like, well, there's this one called Artemis Fowl that I saw in your like little scholastic book fair thing. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so you are super excited. I actually haven't seen the trailer yet.
I think the trailer looks good. It looks like it's got detail in it. Okay, this is my backstory with these books. I picked up the first book, I think the year it came out, because I remember being in fourth grade, and that equates to like the 2001 published date. And for those who are unaware, Artemis Fowl was this YA book series. It's published in like 2001 about this like 12-year-old boy who's
a genius.
Yes, he's a genius, and he is the son of this millionaire who got lost during some business trip, and like the family spent all their money to try and find him, and they haven't found him yet. So the family is essentially broke, and Artemis is like, I'm gonna find Dad.
Well, that won't do.
Yes, I'm a genius. I can do anything. Yeah. So what he does is he kidnaps a fairy police officer, and he ransoms her to get the fairy gold to pay for more search rescue efforts to find his father.
It turns out they're a family of criminals.
Yes,
criminal. And so he's just like, well, I'm just gonna get into the family business and steal some stuff.
But like magic stuff, and they're so fun. It's a really good like fantasy sci-fi mix. They're really funny. They're like YA, but still like I reread them all like my senior year in college, and I still like really love them. So
they're
I think
fantastic.
They hold up. But there's like a fairy code language that the author created, just like a letter swap cipher thing. And so there's all these weird symbols on the pages, and
yeah, I remember those. It was like an actual code, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so, and the back of the book, this book I bought when I was 10 years old, it says, hey, decipher the code, enter the sweepstakes. You could win.
I never figured out even a letter.
I never even tried. But this little thing said, hey, figure out the code, enter the sweepstakes. You could win like a brief walk-on role in the upcoming Artemis Fowl movie.
It's been like 20 years in the fucking making.
I know. 18 years, Kyle. I did my waiting. And finally, and like these are rights that like got passed around. It got out of development hell.
I
Kyle,
wonder.
it did.
I wonder if whoever, I'm sure someone solved the code and turned in their box tops and all, and I'm wondering if they're still gonna honor that, if like the person, if they're still out there, if they're still alive, is that the father now? Are they old enough to be the father?
I don't know,
or
but I watched.
Are they gonna be a fairy, or
Like I'd heard that Disney has the rights to this movie now, and they're going to make it, and I was like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. And just suddenly last night, I'm just looking at my YouTube page. And like I watch a lot of Disney stuff. Like I'm a big Disney parks nerd, so just Disney news it gives me. And it's like, here's the trailer for the Artemis Fowl movie, and I'm like, they've done it. It's real. It's finally real.
Yeah.
And I think the trailer looks good. Like it probably seems like just some run-of-the-mill like young adult fantasy adventure to anybody else, but I'm like, there's detail in this. Like, you don't really see the fairies. It's mostly like shots of the humans in the trailer, but there's this brief shot of Holly from behind, and you only know it's Holly because she does that neck crack thing, which is this little detail in the books that whenever she's
that's her thing.
It's time to unleash my magic. Her like physical tick is like she pops her neck and she's like, magic powers, here we go. I'm like, you put that in there, like I get the feeling that this wasn't like a trash can job. Like, we've got the rights, we've got to use them. I think they hired people who
It's
really loved the book.
yeah, it like that's a weird thing because they mentioned it on the Kind of Funny morning show, which they
Oh,
do every weekday, and it's like a nonsense morning show.
yeah.
They talk about pop culture and stuff, but they had no idea what Artemis Fowl is, and
Yeah.
so they're like, "This looks stupid. Like, what the hell is this?" So I was like, "No, you
Oh,
guys, it's
it's
actually a
so
really
good.
cool book. Go read them."
It took 18
But
years.
yeah,
I was
like
reading more than
it's
half my life.
it's one of those things like I really love those books. I'm glad it's being made into a
Yeah.
movie, but I'm wondering if it's too late.
I think it is, but better late than never.
But like
Like,
that's the thing. If there's like 8 books, I want them to do it all. Like I want them. I don't want them to condense like the first 3 books into one movie where he steals the gold and then they're on the ship in the second or third book. You know, and
yeah.
then it's like I don't like. I want them to actually take their time with this series because that's
Yeah.
like this series deserves that. Like it deserved, but it's like. I don't I barely know anyone who knows Artemis Fowl, and it like that was a thing 20 years ago. It's like imagine when we were that age and they were making movies about like the kids books from like the 1980s.
It would be like 5 years ago if they made a Magic Treehouse movie. But like the audience is still there. I'm still here. I'm gonna go see it opening night probably.
I
They've
mean,
got me.
see, and that's the thing too. Like we're also about to get that Detective Pikachu movie, but Pokemon has been around and puts out something
Yes,
new
yes.
every year.
Pokemon is consistent.
I just beat the Elite Four yesterday in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Like
Right.
I just beat that game. Like here I
Not a big
am
deal.
still, but yeah, here I am. You know, Pokemon master over here. Um, but like that, it's been able to remain in the conversation, whereas Artemis Fowl, even in in that time,
Yeah.
wasn't super popular.
No, like it never reached Harry Potter. It never even reached like, you know, Mortal Instruments or anything like that. It was always like
I don't even know
B
Mortal Instruments.
tier. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's like a couple steps below Harry Potter. Like, okay, Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Twilight, that's all up there. I'm trying to think of other things that were slightly less popular but still well known. Artemis Fowl never quite got there,
What?
but I feel like the people that liked it a lot.
Yeah. And well, I guess I'm wondering how relevant the book is to younger kids. I mean, not like how like it's a made up story and it's not that old, right? But
Mhm.
even the like Goosebumps stuff, like they're making a second Goosebumps movie, and like that was around when we were that age and younger. I'm assuming they still sell those books in like the like school book fairs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm sure that that's still around. But is Artemis Fowl still around in that same way? Like, are they still selling it to like 4th and 5th graders, or is it already on the next, the next big thing?
I think I don't think it is consistent. Like it's not culturally consistent. Yeah, the last book came out 6 years ago, and that was the final book. And no, it's not an active franchise, but I think it might be something that like individuals will pass down. Like there's probably still like there's schools out there where that's like the librarian's favorite book. And like she'll always put it out there on like, the librarian recommends try
Yeah.
Artemis Fowl. Like I tried to get my nephew into it. He didn't like it. I'm gonna try in a couple
How dare
years
he?
with my niece. Yeah, yeah.
He's not your nephew now.
He's not a fantasy kid. He's not a fantasy kid, unfortunately. But he's got a little
But like that's the
sister.
thing. That's the thing too, because I'm not super big into like fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
but this is like it's like fantasy spy stuff.
Yes.
It's not like Lord of the Rings style, like elves and swords and magic. Like that
Mm-hmm.
stuff is in there,
It's
but they're doing heists and like there's car chases and stuff like
yeah.
that. You know,
It's urban fantasy and it's very techy.
yeah,
Like
high tech.
like it's elves and dwarves and centaurs, but the centaur is a hacker. Like they've got all the tech we've got. They've just also got magic to make it extra better.
I wonder what percentage that centaur is. If he's 50-50 or if he's that 90 if he's the 90-10.
I know. Like maybe they downgraded him and he's just a fawn. It's just from the knees down.
He just has
Yeah.
the human head there.
I mean, yeah, I think the techiness of these books and like how funny they are
Yeah.
will I think it'll still resonate with kids. Plus, like if Gravity Falls is any indication, people still love a code.
Yeah. Yeah. There was another series of books that I don't remember what it was named.
Okay.
I think there was 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. They were yay big. They were hardback books. And I mean that looks big for a kid's book, but
Yeah, yeah.
it was like they were big words on all the pages, so you read it really fast. I don't remember what it was called. It had something to do with dragons and
Oh,
these
the
like
Aragon series.
no, it wasn't that.
It's not Aragon?
It wasn't that. I've never read those.
Oh, is it like
It was something to do with a tower, and there were dragons in the book. There were these like crystals
Oh.
that gave off different light or
don't
something
know
like that.
this.
I want to say it was like the seventh tower or something. I don't know if that's a thing.
I believe you, but this all sounds like so generic, like dragons, tower, crystals.
That's exactly what it was. It was
I
a
don't know what
generic
this
like
is.
YA. Let me see.
Like, it's
The
not
Seventh
Aragon, it's not Bartimaeus.
Tower book series. Well, it auto-filled on Google, so that was correct. Yeah, that was it.
It's just
This-
called the Seventh Tower?
The Seventh Tower. It's a
Let me
series
see if
of
I
books.
recognize these things.
Wikimedia is a series of 6 books written by
Yeah.
Garth Nix. The result,
Oh, I know that name.
the result of a joint partnership between Scholastic and Lucasfilm.
Whoa.
The series follows 2 children who
Yeah.
2 children from distinctly different societies in a world blocked from the sun by a magical veil, which leaves the world in complete darkness. Well, duh, that's what a veil does.
This does, like, I don't think I heard of this when I was a kid, but I feel like somebody has
You've
mentioned
seen it?
this to me in the recent years. Yes.
What else has Garth Nix done?
I know that
Notably,
name.
Old
What has he
Kingdom,
done?
Seventh Tower, and Keys to the Kingdom.
Hmm.
Very clever baby's first reader. Nope, that's not it. um,
Kyle, were you a very clever baby?
no, not at all. I was a dumbass. I mean, yeah, it looks like he does books and stuff, which is why I don't really know his stuff, because I don't read all that much books. I'm all comics. But yeah, there you go. The Seventh Tower. That was my thing. I guess there were 6 books. I had 2 hardcover editions then that had like the first 3, or maybe I did have 3, and it was 2 books in each of them.
Okay.
I don't know. It was something like that, but it was these hardback books.
There was a series I read a couple of called Broken Sky. Do you know that one?
No.
I think it was like they were small, like they were like a Goosebumps size, but the maturity felt like a little bit more closer to like a 14-year-old book than like a 10-year-old book.
Yeah.
And they had these anime illustrations on the cover. And it was this fantasy world where just about everybody had powers, and the powers were you purchased them. There were these magical
Hmm.
stones, like these like egg shape and size stones, and you would get them like installed along your spine, and the stones would like connect to your like body force, and you could use whatever power the stones had, and the more stones you had, the more powerful you were.
It would suck if you got the wrong stone and it was some lame ass power.
I don't remember like
What
what
do
all
you
the
mean
powers
I can shoot spaghetti from my fingers? I don't want the. God damn it!
got the spaghetti stone. You
It's just a fucking giant meatball they stuck in his
just
kid.
a line of meatballs. I don't remember like where the stones came from, but I know it was something like if you had more money, you had more stones. But also if you like you worked the land, if you were like a harvester, you could also have good stones. So it was about these two siblings whose like they had a decent amount of money, but really their father just knew the land and worked the land and harvested them.
Uh huh.
And these two kids had 6 stones, which was almost unheard of. I don't even remember what their powers were, but whatever it was, they were very strong at it because they
Okay.
had 6 stones. And like it was just about them going on this journey, and they'd meet other people who had other stones, but it was like this thing everybody knew everybody had, but you weren't like it was rude to ask other people. Like they'd get in a fight and they're like, we want to know what this other guy can do, but we can't just turn around and go, yo, what are your power stones? Like he just has to show us and then we'll know. And like they've got more stones than
Hey,
everybody else
what
in
kind
the
of balls do you have?
yeah, yeah. Like this all sounds ridiculous when I'm telling this to you, but I remember thinking this was a really cool concept when I was like 11 years old. And they were all different colors. You just give like a kid like a colorful stone. Like we were discussing this a couple weeks ago that I've just got a big pile of rocks on my desk.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't die. It lives in you forever. The need for colorful rocks.
There you go. I don't know. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I guess that's what Hollywood does. Like they start making all of the like hopefully this new Artemis Fowl movie is decent and like sparks some new
Yeah,
interest in
I'd
the
love it
books and
too.
stuff like that. Um, yeah, that'd be
Hmm.
fun.
Hmm.
That would be fun. Speaking of development hell, uh, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out in at the end of January. I'm
Oh,
super excited
right.
about that.
I know. Yes.
That's been like 13 or 14 years
Since like
since.
Kingdom Hearts 2, but there's like the weird in between games.
Yeah. Yeah,
There is
it's strange.
there's a podcast that acquaintances of mine do called Kingdom Smarts, where it's somebody who knows everything about Kingdom Hearts and a person who doesn't.
Yeah.
And she gets 30 minutes at a time to explain it to them. And then the timer goes off and she's supposed to pick up again the next week.
Me and Belinda want to do some Kingdom Hearts related content
But
around the time that it comes out, whether it's
go
a
for it.
spoiler cast or a hey, like here's everything you need to know before going in type of
Awesome.
thing. So we'll
I
figure that out, but yeah.
cool. Yeah, I
Uh,
never played them, but I just have like I've gotten a basic familiarity of it from listening to this
they're
podcast. And
actually
like, yeah, I know it's
I
exciting.
always hear people like you can explain it so that it is really complicated and there's all this stuff
Yeah.
happening. I don't think that's a good way to explain it. Like you actually can simplify it and be like, hey,
Yeah, just
here's the
explain with
like
the feeling.
here's the overarching thing, right? Like that's all
Yes.
you need. Like once you understand that overarching thing, then you can go in and get into these more granular details. But
Hmm.
so many people I see, even in like video games, journalism, like start with the very granular stuff. I'm like, no, what do you just
It's about like kids being friends, going on adventures, going through Disney worlds, helping people, and also like Donald and Goofy are there, and
kind
Mickey has
of?
a keyblade, and Mickey's like his dad. Shoes real big.
Spot on. No. Um, I mean, I don't know if you want me to like do a short explanation of the gist of it. So you know that it is a video game that combines a bunch of the like Disney worlds and characters with like the Final Fantasy worlds and characters. I guess usually not worlds, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So the idea is that all of those worlds are separate and are supposed to be separate. Like they aren't supposed to all be mixed mashed into one big thing. And there was a scientist who was studying people and whether or not they are inherently good or inherently bad, and does that have something to do with the heart? And you know, what happens if a person does not have a heart? Does that make them evil? Does that make them not? Well, you know, just
Yeah.
what's happening there. And things like not all science experiments, but a lot of video game, comic booky type of science stuff, it goes wrong and it ends up unleashing this darkness onto the worlds, and it's seeping into all of these like separate worlds and like unlocking the barriers between them, right? And so you end up picking up as Sora, the main character, who's just this young kid who wants to like go and see the world and explore and all of that stuff. And one night his world gets hit by this darkness. And next thing he knows, he wakes up and he's in a completely different world, and he doesn't know where his friends are or anything. And so he's trying to find them. Along the way, that's where he meets Donald and Goofy, who are looking for King Mickey, who is also trying to deal with this darkness that is happening and being like, oh, shit, we gotta do something. Oh, shit, we gotta do something. And so, like, you meet up with them, and he's like, well, I'm trying to find my friends. Well, I'm trying to find the king. Why don't we just go search together, you know? And so that's what they go do. And it's like along the way, as we're searching for our friends, why don't we kind of clean up these worlds and make sure that the evil doesn't seep back in? And that's that's basically the story of the first game, which is like the overarch, like that's simple enough, right? This scientist fucked things up. Now this evil thing is happening, and there's this small kid who happens to be kind of the chosen one type of thing, and he is now putting things right. And then it goes from there, and it gets even more crazy. And then there's nobodies, and who is Roxas, and all of this, and why are there these, you know?
There's all the
does
organizations.
Roxas actually exist? What the fuck is this organization? What is Kingdom Hearts? Why does it, you know? So, but that's the basis, and if you understand that, then you understand most of the game, where it's like it's about friendship.
I think
And doing the right thing. People are good. Kingdom Hearts is light.
I think that Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if this was part of it or if this was an aftershock of it. I think we can draw a line from Kingdom Hearts back to Space Jam, back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as this trend that made us love mashups and crossovers, and just like, if we can imagine something, that can be a movie, a show, a property. Like I thought about this recently with Detective Pikachu. That's bonkers. It's no more bonkers than Kingdom Hearts or Space Jam, or oh, here's Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse together on screen. Like,
or like Super Smash Bros, which is about to come out this next month. I want to see Mario fight Link. Hell yeah.
I think I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, Space Jam was something that really defined us as a generation, because it's what a weird mismatch of stuff. You've got Michael Jordan and the NBA stars. You've got
Space
Looney
Jam.
Tunes. You've got Bill Murray, Danny DeVito, Wayne Knight. Bill Murray is playing himself in this movie. I don't know if you remember that part.
Yeah. Yep.
He's just him. And it's all of that.
He just shows up. Space Jam is so good.
It's not. Is it a good story? No,
Probably
but it's
not.
an important story. It's important, and it defined us, and it was so important to us. And I think it taught us with like
Monsters.
Roger Rabbit, I would call as like its predecessor, as like the shoulders it stood on. Like anything can be a movie. Like you think about stuff, you can duct tape it together, and it's something now. It continues on to like, heck, Infinity War.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have Infinity War with all of these superheroes we love in one movie if we didn't have Bugs Bunny meeting both Mickey Mouse and Michael Jordan in two separate films. Like, Bugs Bunny really is the person we have to thank for every bananas property that is out there. You can go from Bugs Bunny to Sora and Roxas.
There you go.
You follow me with this.
That's certainly one way to think about it.
Space Jam spoiled us. We're like, more weird things, more things that should not work, and they don't work, but in our hearts they do.
Yeah. In our hearts it works. That's kind of how Kingdom Hearts works too. It works, just believe.
It just
okay?
works. Like, believe us, it works.
Yeah. Let's see. So
Gotta talk about the big cow.
Yeah, I put this down on the thing. What was up with that big cow? that big steer, I think is what they were
Specifically,
calling
yes,
it.
yes.
I think his name was Knickers. Nickers. Knickers.
Like the short
What?
pants.
I opened up Twitter and that was the first thing I saw. Like 2 days ago. It's just like, hey guys, look at this giant cow. Just like, sure, okay.
This cow came to me at the office. I'm so happy you brought this up, Kyle. Okay. We just installed this like chat client on our office computers.
Yeah.
So now we've got like a little chat room for my department. And just in the general group chat, one guy posted the picture of Knickers and he just wrote, I am obsessed with cow. And here's the thing. That was the first time I had seen it. And we work in academic publishing. So I'm like, oh, I don't know all the journals he works on. Maybe he has like
maybe there's some stem cell, like
maybe he has just like an animal husbandry journal or dairy journal or something where this is like a photo in a scientific paper that like the paper is about, look at how big this cow is. And he's like, dang, what a cool paper. What a cool like figure I get to process. I'm going to show the rest of my department. Look at the big cow.
Nope, it was just a giant cow.
We spent all this time freaking out about the big cow, and like somebody referred to it as a meme, and I thought there was like, our new in-office meme because of the paper somebody wrote about a cow and sent to one of his journals. It was not until you brought it up that you're like, let's talk about the big cow, that I'm like, hold on.
Wait, this was
That's
a thing?
from the outside world? That's not just from Dustin? I thought it was his. I thought he brought the big cow to us.
It's so weird. You mentioned something. I guess this actually has not as much to do with the cow, but how language evolves to kind of encompass all of that. How like everything is now a meme. Like just a picture on the internet, someone is going to call it a meme, even though it might not be, or stuff like that.
Yes.
And yes. I was. What else? There was something else I was thinking. Oh, like filters. Like if you put a photo up on Instagram or something, they always ask, "Oh, what filter did you use?" And it's like, well, I didn't. It's not a filter. Like I edited this in Photoshop and actually like
it's a custom blend.
Yeah, like
I call it the Kyle Special number 4.
But like when you get down to it, yeah, I guess that's a filter. Like,
Mhm.
it's a filter of Photoshop. Just I messed with all of the stuff, Um, but yeah, I mean, it like that. It's so weird how like that, like we've come to like that's just the accepted thing. Like you
Yeah.
put up a photo, there has to be some kind of filter, right? Or you put up
Yes.
some thing that is meant to go viral, or do something there, and it's a meme.
Yeah, like every funny picture on the internet is a meme. And I
It's just
used
a
to
funny
fight
picture.
this, Kyle.
It's just
Like like how technically, if we want to get granular about it, the general concept of a lol cat, for instance, going
yeah.
back here some years, the
There's a
general
term you don't
concept,
hear all that much. A lolcat.
yeah, the general concept of a lol cat is a meme. Very popular lol cats like I can has cheeseburger. That one is a meme. Not every single cat with a picture of a cat with text on it is a meme. That would be called a macro. A macro is technically, I guess, a picture with words over it, which you see less of nowadays. But
Hey, look at you getting all
for a while,
academic.
I took a media literacy class in college where we had an entire unit on memes.
The
It
funny
was
thing is, as I'm sure as like useful as that class is, and I'm sure as much as that will like
yeah.
eventually be integrated into like just regular English classes and stuff like that,
Mhm.
it's still just they're just gonna be like, that's a meme.
Yeah, yeah.
Like no one's gonna be like, it's a fucking macro or it's a Logan. It's a meme.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a distinction that the professor I liked quite much told me about some yes, I'm gonna tell others what you told me. Just like I bring you the word of Andrew Allen Smith with his sharp little neatly trimmed beard and his sweater vest and his jacket with elbow patches, like, hello, I'm a young, handsome, charming person and I know things. I'm like, you know things. I know the things now too. I'm gonna make other people know the things. After I got over that, I'm like, oh, if everybody wants to call it a meme, just call it a meme. It's fine. It brings the world closer together for you see the meme? I saw the meme. Loved the meme. But anyhow, this is to say, I thought it was just The Office's new meme. I did not know the world
But like,
had this cow.
why does this cow go viral? That's what I don't understand. Like, this cow is now more successful than me. And I don't like that.
I think because the nature of the thing is that it is only mildly interesting. Like, huh. But you feel that, huh, so strongly that you're like, it's a meme, it's an observation on yourself, not on the cow, that you're like, I love this.
So what you're
Why do I
saying
love
is that
this so
we're not
much?
even mildly interesting here at the Whatnauts.
We're Did you did you
the
hear what I'm
the cow
saying?
is just mildly interesting, and it's a million times more successful than we'll ever be.
Do you understand why I'm saying about why I think this thing became so big? We just looked at something that was pleasant and charming and kind of quirky and kind of cute, I guess. And we're like, huh. And we just latched onto that in a, that mild little quirk of interestingness
Yeah.
was a lifesaver in a sea. When he put the picture of the cow in the chat room, I mentioned it to him there, later that day, like, oh, I like that cow picture you shared, and he just said, I'm gonna marry the cow. And
There's a lot of animal loving in this episode.
I thought I misheard him for a second. I'm like, I thought he said oh, Mary's that cow. Oh, I read the paper that was about the cow, and the cow's name is Mary. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. What a nice name for a cow. But then later I figured out what was going on, and he's just like, I am obsessed with the large cow. I am going to marry the cow.
Ridiculous. I when I looked it up to kind of put it on the docket for today,
Yeah,
apparently someone has already come forward claiming they have an even bigger cow.
I'm sure.
I'm now wondering if this is a ploy of the Guinness Book of World Records to like make a meme. Like how do you memify Guinness Book of World Records? Because like when the internet was like first starting to be a thing, the people who were making content that they were putting up, it was like a handful of them. Like they all at least knew of each other and stuff like that. When
E-Bomb's World knows.
Yeah. And like it's I have no idea where I was going with that. My mind just completely farted and was like, bleh.
So you think now Guinness is like,
oh yes, that yeah. So like they were doing this thing where at like when YouTube was first getting started, you had these creators like putting up legitimate stuff that they were making, and it wasn't a ploy.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to go viral. You know, they weren't making stuff to do that specifically. Right? Of course they wanted people to see their stuff, but now we have this idea of, oh, something can go viral. Millions of people can share this thing. Let's make something that is tailored to fit that, right? And there's a lot of those things that like happen naturally, which is what we saw oftentimes in those early days. And then we now have like Conan O'Brien like tailoring videos to do this thing, and like months after being like, haha, that was me, I'm the one that made that, here's the full version, you know. And it's like, oh, so that was fake. Okay. You know, so now there's this idea of like, is this real, is this fake, who knows? And so yeah, like here's a cow that went viral for God knows why. Someone else is already being like, oh yeah, my cow is 2 inches taller than your cow. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, why is this a thing? And I like tinfoil hat me is like,
tinfoil hat
if
meme.
it's not Guinness, it's Ripley's Believe It or Not. How are they making a comeback?
You've been like tinfoil hatting this, and I'm just like, oh, some agriculture.
Oh, you froze on me. We have lost Melissa for a second there, which is not fun. Too much cow talk. The cow talk was too big for our bandwidth. Let me see if I can call her back. So I'm going to go to a Be Right Back stream page thing in the middle of this, and we will be right back and see if we can figure it out. Bye. Interrupted. I have food in my mouth now. So apologies for that.
Now who's the unprofessional one, Kyle?
You know what? Like I was saying, that cow is more successful than I'll ever be. Okay, this is what you get when you come here to the.
Kyle, how tall are you?
I'm 5'9". Thank you very much.
I always thought you were taller than that.
I'm a short little motherfucker.
Are you taller than Paul? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I am taller than Paul.
I must have heard Paul call you tall. And I thought you were tall in general, but no, you're taller than he was. Okay, then he is. He's not dead.
Yeah. Now my Skype on this thing is being weird. Why is that?
You're still alive to me.
You're still alive to me. Why is it? Is Twitch not saying?
Kyle, speaking of
I don't even know what's happening here. Speaking of what?
Speaking of suddenly learning things about people, like I've spent our entire friendship believing you're like 5 inches taller than you are.
I mean, I'm also like super skinny.
That I can tell. I just
So
can't like.
it's the like I guess like lanky, like just
Yes,
being like
yes.
as skinny as I am.
I look at you from like the chest up, and I can believe you have very long limbs. But speaking of like suddenly learning things about people, I've been friends with my roommate since like March. We've been
Uh-huh.
living together since August. I just learned a couple hours ago she's a huge Dragon Ball Z fan.
Hell yeah.
This dude, I did. I'm like, how? How did this never come up between us before? You love Dragon Ball Z so much.
Because it's a great show. Who doesn't
Did
like
you see
Dragon
the
Ball Z?
Goku balloon?
I didn't get to see the Goku balloon. I'm actually kind of. I mean, well, I saw pictures, but I didn't watch the Thanksgiving Day parade. But I thought about mentioning it to my parents. I was hoping they would mention it to me because I was also. I mean, I still am. I love Dragon Ball Z. I haven't really kept up with it.
There's a
Um,
lot.
yeah, but I used to have a bunch of Dragon Ball Z action figures that I now no longer have. Sad face.
Oh,
But I remember my parents buying them for me from time to time, and my mom does the thing where she doesn't understand what it is, so she
yes.
mispronounces it. It's Pokemans
Here's that
to her,
Vegeta you
right?
asked for.
Yeah. And to for Goku, it was always Geeko. Geeko, we got you that Geeko action figure you wanted, Mom. It's Goku. You know that he's the
Oh,
strongest.
mom translations are the best thing in the world. Have I told you about the best thing my mother has ever misunderstood?
No.
Okay. Earlier this year, I was telling her about I went to an Oscars night party at my friend's house. I'm not like a huge movie buff Oscars person, but I was happy to be invited and hang out with my friends and eat snacks. And so I was telling my mom about it, like, oh, I actually had a pretty good time. And like a lot of the presenters were like actors I know and liked. Like, that I saw this person and this person. And one of the actors I mentioned was Oscar Isaac. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom stops me and she says, "What's an Oscar Isaac? Is that a robot?" She thought he
What's an
was,
Oscar Isaac?
she thought he was Oscar Isaac. Like they took an Oscar statue, personified one, made like a little robot guy looking like an Oscar
I
walking
mean,
around
he
talking,
is
and
fairly
named
statuesque.
and he was named Isaac. She thought Oscar was a title.
That's that's funny.
Like, so this was in like February. So shortly after that was when Last Jedi like came out for home video. And so whenever I'd like see an ad for it in a store, I'd point at it and
Look,
say,
Ma, it's a
"That
robot. It's a robot.
that
It's a robot.
Mom, that is an Oscar Isaac from the Star Wars."
That's funny. That's funny. Speaking of the Oscars, the video game awards are coming up December 6th.
The
I guess
gamies.
I
Is that what they are?
no, they're just
Oh,
called
dang it.
the video game award. They don't I don't think they have a name for their trophies or if they actually get
What does it look like?
trophies. I don't I think it do they do the thing that they have? I don't know. I don't know if they give out
Is it just
actual
a cube?
trophies.
They give you a cube and they tell you it's a pixel statue.
I don't think they even do anything like that. But so the video game awards is like the Oscars, but for video games. Like it's not only I mean it's a fantastic show, but a lot of people still don't realize how big video gaming is, and like
Yes.
how like it makes more money than like sports and the whole like Hollywood movie industry combined or something like that. It makes like 10 times the amount of money that Hollywood does. And once people start to understand that, it's like, holy shit, people play video games. Like that's they spend a lot of money on that stuff. And yeah, sure that there's all this different stuff. You know, the movie ticket is like $10 and the video game is like 60 maybe ish. You know, there's all of that stuff. But the video game awards are coming this next week. I guess by time this goes public, they will have already happened, I believe. But speaking of the Oscars, last year they had a creator come up, and oh god, he was drunk. And he goes on this big rant about, yeah, and you know, video games, they're legitimate too. Like, fuck the Oscars. We could, and he says it on stream, and it was both one of those things that was like, oh my god, that happened. This is amazing. And wait a minute, that happened, and maybe that wasn't a good thing.
Movies are gonna fight back.
Yeah. No,
they're gonna send two champions. At one end of the boxing ring, Steven Spielberg. At their other end,
Joseph Ferris, the guy, the fuck the Oscars guy. And they're gonna go at it. No, but it like. Right. It's also the type of thing where, yeah, like they don't, it's not on TV, they stream it live on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, and all of that stuff. Yes, it is the guy from A Way Out, and I'm sure that helped their sales. But I mean, yeah, like it's more built into like a younger audience, a streaming culture, but at the same time trying to make it look like the Oscars, and that it is a legitimate thing. But they also like, so they knew, so this year they're like, guess who's coming back? And it was like this guy, fuck the Oscars like, guy.
It's like, it was Jimmy Kimmel that hosted 2 years ago when there was the big kerfuffle about reading the wrong envelope, and for a second they thought they had the wrong Best Picture award winner, and then he came back the year after as like, okay guys, I know I actually had nothing to do with it last time, it's not my fault, but here I am again, really ensuring we're gonna do it right this time.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm excited. Video games are cool.
Is it glamorous?
Yes. Well, yeah. This is like the most glamorous video game type of show. I guess you could argue E3. Like E3 is more of a press conference, doing all of that stuff. This is more of, it's an award show. Let's dress up and actually make this like an event.
That's what all I wanted to know. That's all I was asking about is, are the outfits glamorous? Is this a tux thing? Is this a ball gown thing?
Maybe not to that level.
Okay.
But it's still like, hey, let's make this, like, let's dress up somewhat. Let's make this look a lot nicer and a lot more legitimate than... I mean, there's other video game like award shows and stuff like that. Some of them are open to the public, some of them aren't. You know, stuff like that. But they want this one to be like the outward facing. Hey, see, like we're legitimate too, kind of thing. That makes it sound bad and sound like that they aren't legitimate yet. But
I think
just to equate it to you who is maybe more familiar with the Oscars and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I get it. It makes sense. It does sound like fun. I'd watch part of it. I wouldn't know what was going on, but if I had a gamer friend with me, I would love to tune into that thing. I really just want to watch just to see what people are dressed like.
So there's speculation about something that's going to happen. I guess by time this goes live, I could make myself look like
the winner's gonna get slimed
idiot. No, it's not like Nickelodeon style stuff. But so there's supposedly an upcoming Avengers video game. I think, is it Square Enix or Crystal Dynamics? I don't remember who's making it. I think it's Square Enix. They are making an Avengers game. They teased it, I want to say 2 years ago, and all we saw was like a brief, like 10-second almost image type of thing that they like scrolled up on, so it
It's just
wasn't
a
much.
long GIF.
Yeah, it wasn't much. The Marvel Spider-Man game that just came out was amazing.
Yes.
The Avengers one, made by a different company, stuff like that, so it's not necessarily gonna be connected. We don't know. We're assuming it's not. But the Russo brothers are going to be at the Game Awards, and they're announcing that they're presenting. So people are wondering, are they going to help introduce this Avengers game, or is the Avengers 4 trailer going to debut at that thing? Like, who knows? I don't
Kyle,
think
when
that's
is this? It's happening this week?
December 6th. I don't think they are going to debut the trailer there, but the Game Awards kind of is at that tipping point where they've kind of now established that they are a thing. Like, hey, we're a legitimate show, but it still hasn't hit a lot of the mainstream. But if it, like, I wouldn't put it past them to do something like this.
Or at least give us the title. Kyle, sometimes I stop and I think, I don't even know the title of Avengers 4 yet, because it's going to be big.
It could be something that they drop the trailer that morning on Marvel, because that way it can hit the East Coast like news cycles and stuff, and then that night come on the Game Awards and be like, so, what did you guys think? Also, there's going to be an Avengers video game coming up. Here's Square Enix to give you a teaser on that. Who knows? But that could be... They have a lot of new announcements and stuff, so I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
It should be a lot of fun. Let's see. Bayo was all dressed up for her teaser trailer last year. Then her entire body split in half. Yeah, I'm assuming that's Bayonetta. Bayo 3 teaser was Game Award. Right, yeah. Yeah. Like, people dress up. It's a legitimate thing, and I think within this year and the next couple years, it will continue to get that much more legitimate.
Okay, you got robot-y for a second, and I thought it was your turn to be trapped on the other side of the veil between life and death.
Yeah.
You're back.
Man, we've had some
Kyle,
weird things happen.
I went to high school. Yeah. There's one final note about award shows. This is my brush with greatness. A guy I went to high school with was a seat filler at the Tonys a couple years ago. You could see him in the background on TV.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm acquainted with that man.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right?
He said hi to me once. There he is on the television.
Yeah. I don't know if I've known anyone that's gone to like big award shows like that. I would love to. I mean, like, I would love to go to one of those award shows. I'm hoping 2019 is the first year that I can go to some more. I say conventions, but I'm assuming I'm not going to have enough money to go to multiple ones, so I might just have to pick one
is a
thing.
Perfect start.
Yeah, but then I don't know what one I want to go to, because I want to go to all of them.
Which one are you thinking? I want to go too.
I want to go to either. I mean, I want to say I've been to Comic-Con, but I'm also not super excited to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I know it's super expensive.
Too big.
Yeah. I want to go to Emerald City, because Eric will be he always goes to that one, so it's like, why not we just do a big old Whatnauts get together, meet up. that would be fun. I want to go to RTX, which is the convention for all the Rooster Teeth stuff. I would love to go to the Game Awards. I think that'd be fun because like they all just go and drink and party and stuff like that. I would love to go to like PAX East or PAX West.
I
Something
recommend
like that. I don't know.
C2E2, which is in Chicago
C2E2
every
would be
spring.
fun
I
as
haven't
well.
been in a couple of years, but it's a good big con and it's affordable for what it is. It's like $60 for a weekend or something.
That's nice.
And you're on the lakefront. There's Lake Michigan. There's the beautiful downtown. It is a great time. You can visit our fair Midwest.
Sounds good. Sounds fun. I put more food in my mouth and I realized I shouldn't have done that. I bought a bag of caramel M&Ms. They're so good. They're so addicting.
Are.
And I know we were just talking about how skinny I am, but that's one of the science's biggest mysteries. I should be like 500 pounds. I don't work out. I don't exercise. I have a terrible diet. I just eat.
A walk man.
I mean, yeah, I walk to and from work, but it's it's a 12-minute walk, but that's it. And then
You walk to the movies. You're always telling me anytime you leave the home, you tell me you walked there.
Yeah. I sit down at work. I don't do shit. I come home from work. I lay in my bed. And that's it. That's my life. It's fantastic.
I wish I could do what you do.
And I eat pizza and candy and soda, and it's great.
Oh, you are a jughead.
Yep, exactly. Well, I think we should wrap things up there. We've been talking for quite a while.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have to stitch this episode together since we had that hiccup there at the end.
Have fun playing Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, at least the thing with your thing going big and small finally stopped.
Big like a cow, small like an M&M.
Yeah, it did the thing where it got like extra big. I was like, "You're big," and you're like, "Oh, good, it fixes." I was like, "No, you're like big."
Martin in charge.
Yeah, like your camera just changed itself on me. I finally fixed it.
The camera, and it's Ant-Man.
Yeah, and I finally fixed it, and it stayed that way. So thankfully, we didn't have to deal with that. But then it did the thing where it was like, "Watcha!" We're just gonna chop things there. But that'll be fun. But so one last note before we go. Speaking of editing the podcast, I'm gonna talk to Eric more so about this show, since we kind of talk about current stuff with me figuring out these NDI sources, which it's one of those things. As I'm doing research on this stuff and figuring it out, it's like, oh, these things have been around for a few months. How did I not hear about these things? It gives me the ability to edit things a lot faster and get things up a lot faster. I think I was mentioning to you last week off mic, like the audio that it gets is a lot better than what our backup used to be.
Yes.
And I'm perfectly fine using our backup now as the main thing. So I can basically, as soon as we're done, start like putting these in Premiere and exporting them and all of that stuff and uploading them. I can get an episode up on Patreon like that next day. So we might revise our like release schedule a bit.
Okay,
in the
cool.
coming weeks, because even with the review show that you and me do most of the time, we could record on Sundays. I have it up on Patreon Sunday night or Monday morning, and then instead of waiting a week for it to go out, we could release them on like Wednesdays.
Nice.
Instead.
I like that.
Maybe that's something we do. Maybe it doesn't make as much sense to do it for the review show. You and I will have to talk, but at least
Yes.
for the captain's log, I'm gonna try to convince Eric that that's what we should do for this one, so that way we can record these on Friday night. It goes up on whatchamacallit, on Patreon.
I thought you were referring to a day as whatchamacallit. Like there's only 7, Kyle. They're not hard to
What's that?
remember.
What's that 8th day?
Blurn's Day.
Yeah. No. So yeah, it like this could end up in the coming weeks. These could end up going up a lot sooner, which helps because we kind of talk about current events every now and then.
Next week,
Kind
everyone
of.
will forget Big Cow.
Yeah. That way we're not like a week behind. Like, hey guys, you see that one hot new meme? And they're all like, dude, that was like so 2 weeks ago.
So 2000 and late.
Yeah. So 2000 and late, you losers. So that would be fantastic news if that is the thing. But I guess we will wrap things up there. Thank you guys for checking out the show, hanging with us in chat. If you guys missed this, we normally live stream this every Friday night. I just realized I needed to update our Be Right. Is that right? Our Be Right. Yeah, I need to update our Be Right back screen for the correct time. Friday night, 9 Eastern. Is the time that we stream these. So go follow us on Twitch and on YouTube. You can just search the Whatnauts podcast. You can search the Whatnauts on iTunes. You can find all of our stuff that way. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts if you want to throw us a buck. If you want to start whittling away at your life savings, we would be more than happy to have it. That would be fantastic. Melissa, where can they find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at YoKyleSpringer. If you guys want more updates about this show or any of your thing just did the big thing again, and it got small. I mean, it went big and went back to normal.
One of us said the secret word.
I don't know. I don't understand what is happening. This is so strange. If you guys want updates with this show and what's happening with Melissa's camera, you can follow us on Twitter at the Whatnauts. This has been episode 30 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. We will see you guys next week. Adios.